Crypto is exploding today as Bitcoin sees its largest price rally since 2025 started. Altcoins are pumping too. There are big buyers buying quality altcoins. More on this in a bit. Most people have no idea why this is happening. I do. Good thing you subscribe to Altcoin Arena for daily videos keeping you informed on everything crypto. Support me by hitting the like button. Comment what altcoins you're buying. It'll be interesting to read some of your comments. But I've been seeing so much misinformation around this price action. Do not be fooled. I made this video for you. The real reason crypto is pumping today is as follows. Number 1. New economic data came out today showing better than expected inflation results. The new economic data shows that the prices consumers pay for a number of goods rose less than what was actually expected in December, providing some relief for investors worrying about inflation. Number 2. 1.5 trillion. BlackRock says crypto adoption is outpacing what we saw with the internet and mobile phones. In fact, BlackRock is expecting things to accelerate even further with tons of pro-crypto regulation happening in 2025.
When we did IBIT, we knew that there was very significant demand from our clients to be able to hold Bitcoin in a turnkey, convenient exposure vehicle. Ethereum to a lesser extent, but still substantially so. We knew that existed.
You know, it's interesting. When people think about BlackRock, the first thing you think about is ETFs. But the second thing I think about is the work that they do with governments around the world. So from where you sit, what does that conversation about a strategic Bitcoin reserve look like at a place like BlackRock? What do you think about it? What do your peers think about it?
What we're interested in from a policy perspective is, I think, the exciting proposition of bringing some clarity and frameworks to this space that in some sense have not existed, particularly helping the banks to be able to be service providers in this space, to act as prime brokers, to act as custodians in this space, which we think is great for the long-term institutionalization and maturity of this market.
What changes in the landscape would make your life much easier? Like, what would you want to push for?
Well, I think that's the biggest one. Is we have our bank service providers in the traditional world play a massive role. We have Coinbase as our custodian, who we have a tremendous relationship with. We're great. And they'll continue to be that for IBIT. But as you think about a growing and maturing digital assets ecosystem, we want there to be lots of Coinbase quality institutional grade providers in this space, and banks haven't been able to do that to date. And we think it'd be great, if they're able to, to have that.
Even
license.
Beyond bank regulation, inauguration is under a week away. When you think about President Trump's first 100 days, what would be the one thing he says for your industry that you're looking out for?
The other piece that's really interesting is stablecoins. And stablecoin legislation is something that's had bipartisan support but didn't quite get over the line in the last Congress. I think very clearly there'll be momentum and support behind that, hopefully on a bipartisan basis, to get stablecoin legislation done. And I think that's a big unlock for the industry as well, because these are vehicles of tremendous power in terms of the innovation and financial efficiency and access that they can bring.
Number 3. The Bitcoin halving took place in 2024. Most people forgot about the Bitcoin halving. However, the effects, the supply shock of this Bitcoin halving, are just starting to be seen in the market. Pantera is expecting Bitcoin's price to hit $150,000 by July simply because of the Bitcoin halving.
I wouldn't bet my entire life savings that Bitcoin's going to go up, but it's been averaging almost doubling every year for 11 years. What if it does it one more year, right?
Would you bet your life it's not going to zero?
I used to tell people it could definitely go to zero to try and be, conservative. I don't think it's possible now. 50 million people in the U.S. own it, 300 million people globally. BlackRock and Fidelity are selling it. It really has reached escape velocity.
Number 4. Donald Trump continues to appoint pro-crypto regulators like Representative Tom Emmer, appointed vice chair of the House Digital Asset Subcommittee, as Trump's administration prepares for a pro-crypto policy push. You remember, of course, Tom Emmer has been pro-crypto for a while. He was one of the only politicians holding Gary Gensler's feet to the fire back in 2022.
The biggest crypto failure in history is probably FTX at $9 billion. Were you the chairman of the SEC when FTX collapsed?
Yes.
And how many times did you meet with FTX prior to their collapse?
I think my public record shows 2.
You met it with FTX at least twice. And arguably, the second biggest crypto failure in history was Terra Luna. Who was the chairman of the SEC when Terra Luna collapsed, sir?
We had brought...
You were, sir, reclaiming my time. You were. Does it concern you that your approach to the digital asset industry is actually driving this industry out of the United States?
trying to drive it to compliance. And if they're not complying with the laws,
You say the crypto market is rife with non-compliance. However, existing SEC rules make no sense for blockchain-based companies, and following them would actually kill these businesses. Your regulatory style lacks flexibility and nuance, and as a result, you've been an incompetent cop on the beat, doing nothing to protect everyday Americans.
U.S. Senate Banking Committee Chair Tim Scott says crypto framework will be a priority for him. He says under Chair Gensler, the SEC refused to provide clarity to the cryptocurrency industry, which forced projects overseas. Moving forward, the committee will work to build a regulatory framework that establishes a tailored pathway for the trading and custody of digital assets.
Bitcoin's future has to be in America. What we know about the Biden administration and the SEC is they've been anti-Bitcoin, anti-digital assets. Elections have consequences. If I have the good fortune of being the chairman of the next banking committee, what we're going to do is make sure that innovation happens in America. Bitcoin's future has to be in America.
To go along with this, Trump's new SEC chair says that they will begin overhauling the agency's old crypto policies as early as next week. Number 5, every day, we're seeing more disclosures of who actually owns crypto. Eric Trump, who we know is a big Bitcoin and Ethereum bull, discloses he owns SUI. Number 6, what's happening in the US is actually happening all around the world to varying degrees. Italy's largest bank is prepping for big future Bitcoin demand. Listen to this. This is extremely significant.
But it is a big signal, right, that they're moving into spot. Because as you know, to buy spot Bitcoin, you need to have the right infrastructure, you need to custody. So the step in the signal is quite significant.
Is the signal that they're putting it on their balance sheet for investment purposes for themselves, or is the signal more about what they're offering clients, Anna?
They're saying for now it's just a test to make sure that it's something that they have the capability to do. But we've also seen in Europe, and we're expecting more activity from large financial institutions, in part because finally the European Union implemented MiCA, which is this giant package of rules around crypto. So it creates a framework that makes it more easier, or at least more comfortable for financial firms to operate in this asset class.
We only have a minute left here, but it's interesting to see how MiCA is actually encouraging more investment, because there was a fear, wasn't there, that there would be some stifling of certain moves.
Yeah, we're actually hearing probably the opposite, that now as there are rules, they know how to operate within those frameworks. If you don't have rules, you can, you've seen what's happened in the US. You can then have the regulator come and say, actually, we did have rules. Those rules were the ones we had before. And the firms think, actually, those rules don't apply to crypto. So it makes it a bit more dangerous or risky for big banks to operate in the space. So it is a big signal that they made a big spot purchase, even if it's tiny in comparison to how big the market has become now.
If you're in crypto today, I think your future is extremely bright. In bull markets, all dips are buying opportunities. We've been preparing you for moments like this, for this moment, for years now. I appreciate each and every one of you. See you tomorrow, my friends.